If you've been following this channel over the last month, you know that we have discussed several accidents that were caused or contributed to by the design of the restraints found on rides produced by Soaring Eagle. Today, we may finally see the end of this restraint design. For some background, Soaring Eagle was founded by former SNS founder Stan Checketts and produced dozens of rides between the early and late 2010s with simple seatbelt restraints. The first of these rides were combination zipline roller coaster rides that were designed to be safer and more efficient than regular ziplines by using a rider car. These rides, now known simply as Soaring Eagle ziplines, were the company's most popular ride by far, and well over 60 of these have been installed worldwide. The company also came out with drop towers, the most infamous of which being the Haunted Mine Drop at Glenwood Caverns. These rides once again featured the same restraints, dark-colored seatbelts, with one locking seatbelt into a monitored receiver and another that was not monitored. Both seatbelts were non-retractable. Soaring Eagle closed sometime in 2020 or 2021, and a large amount of their assets and talent became acquired by Altitude Attractions. Also based out of the same area, Altitude has maintained support for legacy Soaring Eagle rides, providing parts and information at least up until recently. During the course of all of this, several accidents have occurred. This has included at least 2 rider ejections on zipline rides due to riders sitting on top of their seatbelt, as well as the very infamous and fatal accident that occurred on the Haunted Mine Drop, also due to a rider sitting on top of a buckled seatbelt. When these past incidents occurred, Soaring Eagle was informed of them and chose to stay silent, not issuing any service bulletins, changing any designs, or even notifying owners that accidents had occurred. This was a violation of ASTM standards. When the Haunted Mine Drop accident occurred in September 2021, Soaring Eagle was already gone, but Altitude did issue a service bulletin recommending that owners change the color of the seatbelts on their drop towers to brightly colored ones. They did not implement any changes to their other rides. This silence had remained the case up until a few days ago. On February 19, 2026, Altitude released a service bulletin, finally drawing attention to the design and operational flaws found on Soaring Eagle ziplines. The full bulletin is linked below if you'd like to read it. The bulletin was sent to all owners of Altitude and Soaring Eagle produced ziplines, and it states the following. Warning. Altitude Rides and Attractions has identified a safety-critical hazard involving improper positioning of belt restraints by ride operators on Soaring Eagle zipline attractions. Incorrect restraint positioning has been determined to be a contributing factor in the incidents and near-miss events. 2 distinct hazards exist when restraints are improperly positioned. 1. A rider may be improperly seated on top of the lap belts. In this condition, the rider is not secured within the passenger cart, creating a serious risk of rider ejection. 2. The lap belts must properly restrain the riders. To be effective, the lap belt must be positioned low and tight across the rider's hip/pelvic area. Improper lap belt positioning can result in the rider sliding underneath the belt or flipping forward over the belt upon deceleration. Altitude is requiring 2 changes to be performed by owners. Since they are requiring this change, owners must act in order to comply with ASTM, and this is enforceable by law in most US states. The changes they are mandating include the following. 1. A restraint system update. All owners and operators of Soaring Eagle zipline rides are required to have new, updated shoulder restraint components installed on all Soaring Eagle passenger carts within 120 days. These components must be ordered directly from Altitude Rides and Attractions and installed by Altitude Rides and Attractions or qualified personnel. 2. Operator training and procedure review. All personnel involved in the operation of Soaring Eagle zipline attractions are required to participate in a complete retraining, including review of updated rider restraint operating procedures. Owners are responsible for ensuring that all operators fully understand and adhere to the proper restraint positioning and verification requirements. Owners have 120 days to comply with the restraint system change. meaning that by June 19th of this year, all Soaring Eagle ziplines should now have this new restraint design. This new design is shown in the bulletin. It essentially consists of moving the secondary unmonitored restraint up so that it crosses in front of a rider's chest, somewhat like the position of the seatbelt used on Crystal Tower, which was redesigned by a different company and had no involvement from Altitude. It is also encouraging to see brightly colored seatbelts used in the example photos on the bulletin. Moving further into the second change, Altitude is requiring owners to retrain operators and that the training state the following. Riders are to be seated with their hips fully against the seat back. Riders must never be permitted to sit on top of restraint belts. Lap restraints are in the proper position, low and secure across the hips and pelvis, not waist or abdomen, and locked. Shoulder restraints, once installed, are in the proper position from just above the inner shoulder diagonally across the chest and locked. Operator is to pull on each of the belt's tail end so that they are snugly tightened for each rider prior to dispatch. Looking at the HMI indicator lights alone is never sufficient. If any restraint is found to be improperly positioned or not properly connected, the operator should stop the loading process immediately, instruct the riders to stand, and restart the loading/restraint procedure again. All of these changes do help to eliminate many of the concerns found on the original Soaring Eagle design. That being said, it is interesting that they are still not implementing retractable seatbelts, especially in their new designs, as this would also greatly reduce risk. That being said, this is still a very welcome step in the right direction. Finally, I wanted to look at a very interesting statement that they placed at the end of this service bulletin. Altitude Rides and Attractions may issue safety notifications for the benefit of owners of amusement rides manufactured by it. As a service to the industry and in the interest of employee and public safety, Altitude Rides and Attractions may also issue notifications concerning amusement ride equipment for which the original manufacturer is no longer in operation, including Soaring Eagle Inc. Issuance of such notifications does not constitute assumption of responsibility or liability for the design or manufacture of rides made by others. Altitude Rides and Attractions assumes no liability for losses, damages, or claims associated with amusement ride equipment manufactured by entities other than Altitude Rides and Attractions. With this, Altitude makes it clear that they will not take ownership of a Soaring Eagle ride's problems or any design concerns. And if one is present, the safety of that ride is the concern solely of the owner-operator, not Altitude. Regardless, it is great to see that this latent safety hazard has finally been addressed. Hopefully, this will prevent accidents in the future and will lead to a safer future for the entire amusement industry. Safety through communication is a very real thing, and statements like this one, even though they may be perceived as overdue, are very nice to see. If you have a Soaring Eagle zipline near you, definitely be on the lookout for the change in restraint positioning, as the change must be completed by late June. Let me know what you think of this change in the comments below, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.